Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Uh, Today, I'm going to talk about how you can apply for a visitor visa for your spouse, given that you already applied for a spousal sponsorship application um, under family class. So this video would be more relevant for those candidates. So to apply for a visitor visa, you have to log into the GCK account, right? And then if you scroll down, it says start an application and apply to come to Canada. So if you click on that link and you have to choose visitor visa, study or work permit, right? And then you have to fill out some of the basic stuff. So for example, you're visiting to Canada, how long it should be less than 6 months, depending on your country from where you're applying. Should be that code. What is your current country of residence? So that should be the same country you're applying from. Do you have a family who is a Canadian citizen? So in this case, you should select yes, because you are already a PR applicant under family class. And then put your date of birth. Um, let's say this is 10th of Jan. Now moving to the next page. Have you lived in Canada as a permanent resident? So for most of you, that should be no. And lawful US citizenship for most of you, that should be no. Again. And how are you related with your family members? Since you are visiting your spouse to Canada, so you should select legally married spouse. There are other, depending on your case, or you can choose other relationship types. And then what's your current marital status? Since you're visiting your spouse and you say you're legally married, so you should select married status. And what is your province or can territory of destination? So let's say your spouse to whom you are visiting, it's currently staying on Ontario. So you can just select Ontario and then click to the next page. So the one that I'm referring to, right? So the family class spouse sponsorship here. So all of you actually applied for this. Now you are wants to meet your spouse in Canada in the meantime when your application in process. So there is something to keep in mind though. You can apply for a visitor visa after you received your AOR from your spousal sponsorship application. So AOR means it states that they received your application and the application is currently in progress, and they will also provide an application number. So that's the correct actually the AOR document. So so you don't right away receive the AOR document when you are applying for a spousal sponsorship. So it generally take 1 or 2 months to receive an AOR. Um, and then for in this case, definitely we should choose visitor visa application. Click continue. What is the main purpose? Visit a family since you're visiting your spouse. And do you have proof of your relationship with the person who is inviting you to Canada? Yes. So since you're visiting your spouse, you should provide marriage certificate. Do you have a job in the country where you currently live? So it depends on your case if you're currently working, right? So you should select yes, right? So in for some cases, right? Let's say in this case, I'm just assuming that you don't work, you are financially dependent on your husband, right? Um, so you should select no. Do you own a business? That should be no. Do you depend on someone for financial stability? Yes, because you are depending on your husband who is actually sponsor your visit as well, right? Have you traveled to other countries? So depending on your situation, you can select yes or no. And then, are you accompanying a family member who that has a status in Canada or has recently been approved? So for most of you, I believe that should be no, but if it's yes, just provide yes. And have you been, so the rest is just the, you know, security questions. And in this case, I would select yes, because it depends on the situation, right? So if you already performed a medical exam for your spousal peer, you don't need to do medical again if it's within 12 months. So in this case, I'm assuming that you already done your medical examination. So you selected yes. And do you submit application for a family member? For most of you, that should be no. And then here you are just applying yourself, right? So you're not giving anyone access to your application. So you select no. And in the past 10 years, have you given fingerprints? So now here, I'm assuming that you already give medical and fingerprints or biometrics, right? So you should select yes. So these are just the basic questions. Do you have any scanner? Right. So can you pay the associated fees with this application? So it should be yes, right, for most of you. Right. So just go through the applications because depending on your answer here, documents, supporting documents sections would be appear in the next page. So here, something to keep in mind though, it's regarding the biometrics and the panel physician. So don't need to confuse about why we have whether we should put yes or no. It depends on your situation, right? So for example, in our situation that my wife was applying for visitor visa after he done the medical and biometrics because he already applied for his spousal peer and received the request for doing the medical and of biometrics um, for that application, right? So for this scenario, we have actually selected yes because you can just upload the medical document, right? And for biometrics, you can just say yes because it's already in the system. You don't need to provide any additional documents or upload any additional documents for the biometrics. And now let's continue. And it's just saying that like your file size, whatever you upload, cannot be over 4 MB. And the standard timeline to complete this online application is 60 days, right? So click continue. So here the all the supporting documents that you need to submit with the application. And this is the application form that you need to fill out. So I would say the most important part of this whole application should be this form. So this video it's the continuation of our previous video regarding applying visitor visa for a spouse, and this video is basically pertaining to those who actually applied for spousal PR under family class and received AOR. Now they're looking to visit their spouse in Canada. So today I will cover the application forms and the supporting documents. So in the application form, the key form that you need to submit is the IMM 5257 form. So the this is so if you click on this link, so the form would be downloaded, right? And I'll just quickly show you how the form actually looks like. So this is a pretty basic form. Um, so for example, if you have a UCI, I mean, if your wife who is actually visiting you in Canada, so if she has a UCI number, just provide the UCI number. You want to have service in English and the category of visa, definitely visitor visa, and the rest is just the basic stuffs, the basic information that matches her identity documents. And there is one thing I would like to mention is, for some countries, there is no expiry date for the national identity document, so you can leave that fields blank. We also did the same. And regarding the funds, so I would say it's better to show at least a decent amount, at least $10,000 and above, right? During based on your stay, but a decent amount should be definitely 10,000 and above. And here, as you're visiting your spouse name information and the address in Canada, and then the applicant should provide their bachelor and employment information. So sometimes you are working somewhere, and then you are still in the process, sorry, I mean, you are still working in or still studying. So for example, sometimes what happens is, for education and employments, since you, let's say if you haven't completed your degree, right, so in that case you can write something ongoing. And also what you can do, you can choose the current month when you're actually submitting your application, right? So you can actually do both ways, right? Because there is no way you can just write present here, the character won't allow. Similarly for the employment, right? And if you are, so it depends on your situation, right? um, let's say if you are doing an internship, right? um, then for a certain period you might be seeking for job, right? So you can actually write current activity job seeker, right, from this to that, right, after your MBA or your BBA, after you actually completed your bachelor or masters, right? So it depends on the situation how you package it. um, but I would say that if you have an internship experience, add that, right? Let's say in between your internship, and make sure you do not leave any gaps. So that's the most important part. Let's say after you complete your MBA or BBA examination, so there is a 2 or 3 months gap, right? So you should also provide that activity. You can just say job seeker rather than unemployed. I would always prefer to have the designation as job seeker rather than unemployed, right? The rest of is, it's actually, it should be always no, right? These are but if you have something, right, any specific security questions, right, so definitely you should say yes. And here one thing I would like to mention, because some of you has already applied for your permanent residency under family plus, so for those it should be yes, because you say I applied for spousal PR under family class, application number is this, and I received AOR on this date, for example, right? So because when you received an AOR, it will give you an application number, right, and say we received your application, it's currently in progress, so something along this line. So you just write these 3 lines, so that would be sufficient, right? So you should say yes and say 2C, and just provide the information, right, so that visa officer would know that your application is currently in progress, right? And your visitor visa will get faster processing. Generally that's what they actually stated in the website as well. And if you have any visa refusal, right, so then you should also tick off yes here. And similarly, like for say 2B, you just state the reason why it gets refused, right? And then at the end, you have to give consent. You put your name, just write your full name, right? And then when everything is done, and just click validate. So if you miss any points, then it won't be get validated. So make sure you actually um, completed all the sections, right? And then click the validate button. So once it's successfully validated, the barcode would be generated, right? And also at the top, the first page, it will say yes, meaning your validated has been done successfully. So this is the overview for IM 5257, and hope you guys actually enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.